Alrighty, welcome to this video. In this tutorial, it's going to be a series of videos here. We're going to create a form in HTML and then we're going to style it so we can make it look however we want. And then after that, we're going to hook up a PHP script to it to where the form will actually function and email out the information that you fill out. So this is going to take a while. So hope you got some time here because we're roll up pop the popcorn, get ready because this is it's gonna be a while. So there's a lot to do. So first thing I'm gonna do is create a new folder. I'll just call it form. That's what it's gonna be. And like usual, we'll just set up our HTML document. So head, body. And for the title, I'll call it Styled PHP Form. You can call it whatever you want. So save it. Head over to my desktop. We got form. And I'll call it just SPHPF. Styled PHP Form. .html. Make sure you have that .html extension on there. You'll know you do it right if you get the code. So in this video, I'm just going to create the HTML form. Then after that, in the next video, we'll style it, and then the video after that, we'll get it working with PHP. And don't worry, I'll explain everything you need to know as we go. So first thing I'm going to do is create a form. Okay, and then I'm going to close it out. And that's just that. The whole form is going to be inside this form tag. Now I'm going to give it a method of post. We'll talk about that when we get into the PHP part. And we'll write this. So in form tags, you usually have two different attributes. You have a method attribute and an action attribute. The method describes how the information is passed. Post, there's two different types. There's post and there's get. Get is it's not as secure. When you submit a form using the get post, all the information that you put in the form gets shown up here in the URL bar. So you never want to use get if you're doing passwords and things like that. But to be honest, and I'm sure I'm wrong here, but I can't think of a time I would use get instead of method or instead of post. I think there are things called APIs, which are just different code that you can use to talk with other services and other websites. Maybe you would use get, so all the information would be up here in the URL bar, and then you could pass that information to and from the API. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, because we're not going to go over that in this video. The point is just have method equals post, and then action equals mail.php. This we haven't created yet. We'll create this in the PHP video. But for now, it's just mail.php. And what that means is when we submit the form, it's going to run a file. It's going to run this PHP script called mail.php. That doesn't exist yet, so once we create the submit buttons, it won't work. But we'll get there. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is an input. Type equals text. And I'll do a placeholder of full name. And you'll see what, okay, and we'll run this in Chrome just so we can see what we're getting here. All right, so that's what we get there. So let's move this over. So we have our form, input type equals text. That just gives us a text box. And then this placeholder full name is what shows up here. If we click in here and type, it goes away. If we erase what we've typed, the full name comes back. So the placeholder has a pretty cool functionality right there. Okay, I'm going to throw in another one. So I'm just going to copy and paste this line. I'm actually going to have 3. So the first one is going to ask for the full name. The next one is going to ask for an email. And the next one is going to ask for a phone number. So we have full name. Well, yeah, full name just so they know to write their full name in there. Email, and then their phone number. So they can type it in, do what they need to do, and it'll work. Now also, we should have type equals email on this one. This should, if the browser supports it, this should bring some form validation, which means if I typed in something like this and hit submit, it would yell at me and say, it needs to be an email, because it's looking for something in that format, something with an @ symbol and something with a .com or .net or something like that. So you'll want to make sure that that's type equals email there. Shrink this a little bit. Okay. So yeah, that's it for that. Next thing I'm going to do is, as you'll see, this form's a little weird. I'm asking, it's kind of a creeper form. You'll see what I'm talking about. So where do you like to eat? So I just have a header here asking that. Oh, and I probably should have a header up here as well. So let me do that really quick. So header 2, I'm going to stick with the header 2s. So we need to track, get to know you. Close out the header. All right. So the next question, so that's the text and the email. It's just the type equals text and type equal email. It's just you can type in things, and that's about it. So that's what we're going to do there. Next question is, where do you like to eat? And this time I'm going to do a checkbox. Okay, and for that checkbox, I'm going to create a label. We'll fill that out later. We'll just do label for now. We'll say Chuck E. Cheese is one place I like to eat. And then we'll throw that on the next line. Copy and paste this. I'm going to throw this in here a couple times. So, I don't know, Chick-fil-A, I like them. Kind of expensive, but the food's amazing if you're into that chicken stuff. Next one, probably my favorite all-you-can-eat place. But when you got kids, it just gets pretty dang expensive. So, Control S, save it, come over here, F5. All right, so now we have our checkboxes. Looks good. Move that over a little bit. Okay, let's see. Next section I'm going to ask is, we'll do some radio buttons on this one. What time will you most likely be there? Close out the H2. Okay, we'll do input type equals radio. We got to give this a name, and you'll see why in a minute. So this should be later, so we'll say 5 p.m. there. Let's see, actually, nope, we got to do a label for this one too. So label 5 p.m. And again, all this stuff, some of these things will be answered in the other videos. Why we're doing these labels, we'll do that in the next video. Right now we're just getting everything set up in the HTML. All right, then we'll do a BR tag. So now I'm going to copy and paste this a couple times. Feel free to pause it if I'm going too quick. And then we'll change this to 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Now right now it functions the way it should. So radio buttons are meant to only choose one option, where checkboxes are meant to allow you to select more than one. Now if I came over here on the name side of things and I put them in with different values for their names, that messes up the radio button functionality. So now I can select multiple ones, which I don't want to be able to do. So with radio buttons, you want to make sure that you group them by giving them all the same name. So I gave them all the same name of time, and then that groups them together. That makes it so if I come back and refresh, it only allows me to select one. Now right now, when I select the text, it's not changing. Same here. When I'm clicking on the text, it doesn't check the box, only if I hit the box. And later on in the CSS video, we'll show you how to fix that. And it has to do with the label. But for now, we're doing everything we need to here. So the next one, let's throw in another H2. Where will you most likely be? We're not getting too creepy, right? A little bit of creeper. Moving on. Okay, so we're going to create a select drop-down. All right, so we'll be able to select this and pick a time or pick a location, but we haven't put anything in there yet, and you do that with option tags. So option, we'll say inside. The other option, let's just copy and paste this actually like a few times. You can have as many of these as you want. You could say inside, parking lot, in my car. Now one thing you can do, so right there inside parking lot in my car, there's my selections. Now if I wanted to make it so maybe they're going to be in the parking lot in their car, so maybe they want to be able to select multiple items. Well, to do that, it's just multiple equals multiple. When you do that, it turns it into this, where with the scroll bar, so if there were more options, you'd be able to scroll up and down and pick whatever options you want. You can hit Control, hold down Control, and that allows you to select multiple options. But for this, we don't need to do that. We just want to know that one place they'll be so we can go go see them and meet them. Okay, select, let's see here. Next thing we're going to do, add some break tags, and then we're going to set up a field set. You'll see what this does in a minute. And inside of that field set, we're going to have a legend. And we'll ask for any more info there. So that's what you can see. The field set just creates this little, this little square area where everything you put inside of this field set, it'll be contained inside of this box. So it's mostly aesthetics. It just makes it kind of look good, and it helps you group information that you want to put in there. All right, so in there, I will have another H2 tag. And just say, we really want to find you. And I'm going to give them the option to put in some information. And you can do that with text areas. I'm sure you've seen these before online. So that just makes it so they're able to just type and give more information about their location if they need to do that. Okay. All right, close out the field set. We got that closed. Now we're going to create some buttons that they can use to submit the form. So we have a submit button, and we have a reset button. Pretty standard. So we got a submit and a reset. The reset already knows what to do. If I type some information in here and I hit reset, it just gets rid of everything. So it knows to reset everything inside the form tag. It's kind of a built-in functionality that it has. Now if I want to change what these buttons say, I can say value. So value find me. Save that, come back here, F5, find me. Then I could say over here, value, no thanks. But obviously you want to be naming these buttons something that makes sense. Where no thanks, that probably doesn't make them that much sense. So to be honest, I'll probably get rid of that value, and I think reset works enough. But the find me makes sense. Okay. All right, so that's it for the form. So we got it set up. It's pretty bare bones. It doesn't have a lot of color, doesn't have a whole lot of anything really. So what I'm going to be doing here in the next video is we'll be attaching a CSS file to this HTML file, and then we'll start styling things and we'll start making these look very customized and not so default-ish. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, like always, let me know and talk to you soon.